Hi, Colorful Roots family. It's your girl B here with another colorful conversation. I am super duper duper excited today because we have a wonderful guest that we're kicking off Black History Month with. And this is also kicking off our tourism guide where I am going to be communicating with people in different cities and states and learning about the Black history and culture from these places, accommodations, and all things. So when you go to these different areas, you know what to check out, you know the people of notoriety, you know what to do to support your people, where you go. So that's super duper exciting. And today's guest is Godfrey KHill, and I'm thrilled to have him here today because last month my husband and I went on a tour in Charleston, South Carolina, and it was like mind-blowing to say the least. Okay, I have to say that was like the most memorable tour I've ever had, both in what I learned, both in your and also in your delivery. It was out of this world, like most definitely. And a lot of people, I don't know, I guess I didn't really know a lot about Charleston and the history in Charleston. So I'm really excited to have you here so that you can share a lot of the history, what drew us to your particular tours, because we have that interest in the Gullah Geechee people. And we wanted to learn more about that, and we learned way more than what we bargained for. And so,
thank you so much. Wow.
Yes. So welcome. I'm not going to over talk. I really want to start off just like you telling us about your tour, how long you've been in business, what motivated you to start your business. Let's go for it.
Okay. Thank you for your words, your compliments. Most memorable experience. That's amazing. That's heavy. That's heavy, man.
You and your.
I appreciate it. But I do understand it's a big deal because our history, we have never been allowed to know our true history. We were never allowed to know the truth, and under the law, it was forbidden, or you were punished by death. So now, I am Godfrey KHill. Gullah Jack is what they call me. Gullah is what they call me, or Godfrey. Charleston is where I'm living, is where I'm from. The city is known for tourism. The business that I run is Gullah Geechee Tours, or Gullah Tours, or Holy City, Holy Bible Tours. It's the same business. And I've been doing this licensed with the city for 5 years now, licensed with the city. But before licensing, our culture, we Gullah culture, we don't like being licensed because that is how the city controls our story. So, but I've been talking on our culture, for as long as I could remember. Before me, my grandfather was the legend, and he was the only father that I knew in this life, that he crossed over now. So before me was him. So I've been doing this all of my life. I grew up on that slave auction market downtown, the slave auction market that you saw. Wow. So in my family, they're still out there working on the slave auction market today.
Wow.
So this is my life. This is my entire life. And I understand how significant it is to know our true history. This is the #1 city in the world for tourism. Well, most people don't know that tourism is only a code name for history. History. So we're the #1 city in the world for tourism. We're the #1 city in the world for history. But Charleston's history is one thing: slavery. That's all we have to offer. Just keeping it real. And it is 100% controlled by white lies. 100%. Over 900, almost 1,000 tour guides, certified tour guides, and 3 of us are Black. We're the #1 city in the world for the history of slavery, and we're not there at all. We have no parts.
Wow.
of
So
this
have
history.
you ever experienced one of the tours by someone that's non-Black to kind of see the difference? What are the differences between the experience you offer versus kind of how it's whitewashed or how it's delivered, from someone that's not Gullah?
Absolutely. That's a great question. Yeah. So before I began my business as a licensed, certified guide, I worked for the number one carriage company in the nation, Palmetto Carriage Store. And the way they hired me was a joke because I was hired over the phone and they didn't want to hire me when they saw me because there are no Black tour guides. So for 6 months, I worked for this company as a tour guide, but I never did not one tour. So I learned everything they know about us, everything that they say about us. They have scripts. It was 3, then there's 4 scripts now that they memorize. And these people, most of them are not from Charleston, so they're not that passionate or sincere about the truth, about the history of you Black Gullah people. They're entertainers, and they are only in it for the money, and they make the most money in the world telling our history.
Wow.
Because we're distracted with other things. Number one city in the world, the slave history, and they are still telling lies.
Wow. So, I'm glad that we actually stumbled upon your, tour. How do you pull the Gullah Geechee, history into it? What does it mean to be Gullah? Who is Gullah? Who is not Gullah? What is Gullah?
So that's such a big question. And what's interesting about that is if I say it, I can prove it, or I don't say it, because Charleston tourism is based on the Gullah culture. Okay. And Charleston has made the Gullah culture the old slave history. So they have created a slave narrative, and that is what they sell to the world. But what Gullah is really is the blood of God and Jesus Christ. So, Gullah, the proper way to pronounce Gullah is Galah.
Galah, okay.
It's like saying the law or my law in ancient Hebrew.
Okay.
See, the man they called Jesus was not African. He's an Hebrew Israelite. We would call ourselves light. We're the lights. We're the light seers. We are light people. Today we say we are darkness or black. Right. Black by definition means darkness or without light. So everything about us, we are those people that were brought to this country. Now, a great deal of us was already here, certainly. But Deuteronomy chapter 26, the Holy Bible, which is the history book to the Gullah Geechee people. And we were never allowed to know this information, or you again would be punished by being hung on a tree, which is in Galatians chapter 3:13 and Acts chapter 5, verse 30. But Gullah, the law, if you were to Google search the number 1353 Hebrew and hit enter, it'll pull up the etymology about the word, everything about what Gullah truly means. Gullah is the blood, it is the kindred, redemption, redeemer of our Jesus Christ. It's ancient Hebrew for redemption. Pronounced Galah.
Galah. So the Galah people, are they just in South Carolina? Does it spread beyond South Carolina? And I'm trying to understand, when it comes to the Israelite people,
right?
Did they come from one certain place? Are you talking about people from West Africa, in different countries, and then kind of pulling those different cultures together? How does that work exactly?
So the way we connect the dots, the way we connect the breadcrumbs, the fairy tale Hansel and Gretel is all about the Gullah Geechee history hidden in the Bible. So when Hansel and Gretel when you hear about the people that were led away from home on a long journey,
right,
who was taken away from their home in the belly of ships? Those people that was taken away from their homes and are now lost. And Hansel and Gretel, they were taken away from home, and they were lost, but they left breadcrumbs. So the breadcrumbs that we have, how do we connect the dots? Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 68. Moses said that if we keep these laws, everything we touch would turn to gold. You would have all of the blessings. So the fairy tale, the Midas touch, comes from that verse. But he said, if you break these laws, if you break these commandments, and here I'm saying, if you break these laws, the laws, the laws, if you break these laws, these curses will overtake you. So one of the curses is we're not going to know who we are. We're going to have amnesia. So Jack and Jill went up the hill to fetch a pail of water. But when Jack fell down, he broke his crown because we were the kings that ruled. Jack and Jill, the queen, we fell and hit our head so hard that now we have amnesia. And we don't remember that you were the rulers, the light. So when Moses, those Hebrews that he was talking about, he said that you're going to go back into slavery again with slave ships. So when you said from West Africa, when we were brought from West Africa, specifically Ghana, west coast of Africa, is called the door of no return, or the point of no return. Directly from West Africa, straight across the water, is Charleston. And it's a short float across the water. We hear about the triangle slave trade, which is from West Africa to the islands, Jamaica, Barbados, and so forth, the islands, which you find in Isaiah chapter 11:11. Those sea islands, the islands of the sea, that's the Gullah Islands. Or they'll call it the Gullah Geechee Corridor, which is truly all of those islands that those ships from West Africa to the islands and then to Charleston. That's the triangle slave trade.
I see.
But we do know that the shortest distance from one point to another
a straight line.
Is a straight line.
Right.
So the most direct route from West Africa to Charleston, when the Israelites were forced out of their homelands, Galatians 4:26, which is Israel, Jerusalem, when we ran out of our homeland, we ran into a land that was called Ham, or Negro land. Today it's called Africa. And that's named after a man named Scipio Africanus. Africanus is his name. Mm-hmm. So when he conquered the land, they named the land after their own selves. But the Hebrew Israelites were in a land that was not their own land. So the land of Ham encompassed Shem. And on the map of 1738, you'll see where the tribe of Judah, which is the tribe that Jesus Christ is from, Gullah, Geechee, or what we say is Yeshi, man. Yeshi is Geechee. It's called a minced oath. Okay. A minced oath. Like in Pinocchio, they say Jiminy Crickets.
Wow.
What they're really saying is Jesus Christ. That's called a minced oath.
Wow.
Gullah, Geechee. Hosea chapter 2, verse 16. The name, the secret hidden name for Jesus Christ is Ishi. The proper pronunciation is Yeshi in the Gullah Geechee people. In our slang, we will always say, boy, look ya. Ya is God.
Yeah, okay.
Or we'll say, Ishi.
Wow.
We don't realize that we're calling on the most significant names, God the Father and his Son Christ, all in our Gullah language.
So you are connecting a lot of dots. So is that, like, when somebody goes on your tour, are you able to translate this type of information? Like, tell me, what is the process when you go on the tour? How do you reveal this information? Well,
every tour is different because everyone is different. It's all about your Ichi, your Chi, your Chi, your Chi. Everyone's energy is different. Everyone's spirit is different. So, but basically, the number one question is, Gullah. What does Gullah mean?
Mm-hmm.
For Charleston tourism, the number one city in the world, has always taught that Gullah is simply from West Africa to Charleston, or it's a language, and that's it. But they never tell you the language is Hebrew, ancient Hebrew. And Gullah, the law, is ancient Hebrew for the blood of our Redeemer. Again, 1353 Hebrew hit enter, and it'll all come to life. The information that we were never ever allowed to know, that you got the blood of Jesus Christ flowing through your veins. You couldn't know that, or they would lynch you. Charleston, we got all of the hanging trees. We have all of the hanging trees you saw.
I did see the hanging trees. I saw the slave blacks, and I'm going to have to tell you, the two things that really hit me the most was seeing the slave blacks. That was like, okay, wow. Like, they're still here. It's a bit much. There's a lot of things that hit me, but that was one. And then the bell.
Oh,
I saw that bell.
The slave bell.
On that porch. With all those rich Sadiddy folks walking around clean cut.
Wow. Well, you are not even allowed to purchase a home.
It did a number on me. I was like, wow, so there's a slave bell, like you're gonna keep that. Okay. Now I'm sure they say they repurposed it, but I'm like,
of course they did.
Okay, no, and then I gotta tell you more because I need people to understand, like, because it was a thing, like this was a major.
Nobody knows what we're talking about. Only white people.
I never expected to have that experience, and then just being there on the port and just like looking out and just reflecting and thinking about the ancestors. You know, everybody's walking around with their masks, the sun is shining, you know, people just trying to, you know, enjoy the day, the scene, but just kind of having that reflection and just kind of flashing back and just thinking about the ancestors, thinking about what once took place, thinking about, you know, the bloodshed, thinking about the strength that they had to have in order to, you know, still maintain through everything that they had experienced there. It just, I was like, okay, this is deep. It was deep. It was real deep, you know, and again, unexpected. I don't know what I expected exactly.
Right. I know what you expected. You expected, welcome to Charleston, the beautiful Charleston. The architecture is amazing, and George Washington danced with 256 handsome women, which he did.
I don't want to go no deeper with that.
Right. That one alone.
I believe that handsome women alone, because I don't know where that goes.
Well, you know, Charleston is, you would want to leave Charleston alone, because Charleston was created for one reason: to sell slaves. Now, once you understand that, and they will never just admit that, but the British chose Charleston because of its location. The perfect opposite from Jerusalem, 33rd parallel, Holy City. The complete opposite, Charleston, the 33rd parallel, the Holy City.
So is that what sets Charleston apart from, say, like Virginia? Because I always think Virginia when they're talking about slavery. I guess that's the first. Obviously, I know there are several ports and places where we came in, but I think Virginia first. So is that a part of that difference? Like what's the difference that sets Charleston apart? Okay,
so first off, Virginia is significantly important for the beginning of the 400-year curse. Slavery began in Point Comfort, Virginia, under the British, August 21, 1619. It's important that we know when slavery began so we can know when God said it's going to end. So it began 1619, August 21, Virginia. Charleston started 1670, April 10, 1670. Charleston began because of its location. King Charles, a 33rd degree Mason, chose Charleston, which is located on the 33rd parallel, because of its significant location, known as the Gullah Island, 3 sides water, 1 side land.
Okay.
So access from all over the world to this new grand space of property called the New World, or they called it the Dead Lands, because of those Gullah Geechee warriors, those black natives, those we were called Indians, savages, all of the bad words, the Seminoles and the Maroons, the Gullah Geechee warriors, those people. Charleston is significantly different from Virginia because we were only selected to be the place where all of the slaves are brought to and then broken.
Okay, there you go. Okay.
And then traded. So we're the #1 city in the world for churches, politics, religion, and slavery, all in the same damn building.
What a cocktail. That's some kind of cocktail.
This is the cocktail. 4 buildings. The beginning of Charleston, the 4 buildings are churches, liquor taverns. You got to get that liquor. Bordellos, which is what we call in Charleston houses of negotiated affection. Stop it. And then the 4th one is barracoons. The barracoons.
Oh. Remember
the barracoons, huh?
Yes, and that was another one of those things. Now that you say that, I think there's about 2 or 3 more things. And like I said, it was a very eye-opening tour. I think like at the end, like my husband and I were just kind of looking at each other like, wow. Just wow.
Because it's a secret to our own people, our truth. You could never know it for 400 years.
But it's still there. It's like right in front of your face. Or at least
not only is it still there, but it's there as a symbol of power, wealth, affluence, and wicked arrogance of how they broke God's #1 most significant people in the world. They had under their thumb. They wore as clothing when they skinned us, the shoes, the leather pants, the pocketbooks, that smooth skin that you talk about. Yeah,
okay, so explain to people the barricades, like explain to them, because everybody's not going to know what that necessarily means. So can you explain that?
Barracoon is a Portuguese term for slave jail. And language is key because the words have power. Okay, life is in words. In our culture, every word has life. Every letter has a soul, and every word is alive. So barracoon is spelled B-A-R-R, bar a coon. The coons that they had behind the bars. So this is where that derogatory term comes from. So much of language, this English language, is derived from breaking those people, because you couldn't speak in that language. You couldn't know that massa is a Hebrew word for burden. Ancient Hebrew.
What?
Burden, hurt, suffering.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, that makes sense. That makes perfect sense. Right. So another thing. Oh no, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Go ahead. So the barracoons are the most significant of the 4 buildings. Barracoons. Today they'll just be called a warehouse. Or for example, the churches. We have more churches than any other city in the world now, based on our size. The #1 city in the world for churches. But most people have no idea that the churches were used to break the slaves. And whenever we ran, because we always ran, we always rebelled. They don't talk about how we was crushing them all the time. We was crushing them. The Gullah Wars, we freed ourselves now, but let me stay focused. I done lost my focus.
Well, we were talking about the barricades because you were talking about the 4 significant things, and I was saying that was another one of those things.
Right.
And I got another one too, because when we went by that, you're talking about the bars, all these other places, but there was an elite club that we went by, and we looked in the window, and they had a chessboard with a slave ship on it.
A very detailed model of a cargo slave ship. A cargo slave ship. Charleston was only created to spy and sell slaves. So all of those ships that Moses spoke about in Deuteronomy 28:68, this is where they were delivered. They dropped off the cargo, the jewelry, the gold, followed the yellow brick road, followed the gold. We were that gold. So this club that you're talking about the Harbor Club. Oh, man. And then there's another one called the Yacht Club. They don't play. And why would they? They wore us as skin. They hung us in the front of their houses as ornaments and Christmas trees. They sold us in the front of their houses slave auction blocks today that represent their affluence. Why would they respect us? We honor being rotten and wicked. Why would they? They don't.
So it just seems like, okay, with Charleston, there's a lot of money there. There's a lot of power there. You're talking about this 33rd parallel. You had us stand on top of this thing, this nondescript, round, I don't know, it wasn't even round, maybe.
Yes, no, it was round and square at the same time. It was the circle, squared, cube.
That we stood on top of that. There wasn't any type of plaque to signify or to say what it was. I think there was a person that walked over it with their dog or something, and you got all upset about it. We didn't understand at the time, and then we stood on it, and you were like, "You're gonna feel this thing, and something's gonna happen." Woo, woo. And I stood on there, and spoke, and I was in auto-tune, and it was really bizarre, and I'm like, so what is happening here? Before you go, I know we got started late, so we're kind of getting robbed on time, but please tell me more about that, because I was Googling, I was trying to find, I said, this is top secret, because I couldn't even find anything on YouTube that would expound upon what was going on there. What is that energy? What did that mean? What was that?
Before I lose this, I was about to mention that the church steeples are simply runaway slave lookout towers. I was talking
that part too. You had me going on that. And they look like KKK hats.
That's exactly right. Everything is for a reason. Everything is significant in this city. Charleston is a big labyrinth. It's symbolic for these symbol worshipers that you were talking about, the 33rd degree, which is the highest level. But this is that city. And what you're talking about, standing on that circled square that you can't find any information about. Remember now, everything that we're talking about, Gala, the law, Geechee, Ichi, Hosea 2:16, these verses, the hanging trees, Acts 5:30, Galatians 3:13, the secret of why they hung Christ because they lynched us. Everything I'm talking about, you're not going to find this information. You can't look this up. There's no one else alive that can speak what I'm speaking right now. And only at the end of the curse that just ended 2019, 400 years, Beauty and the Beast and Jack and Jill, Princess and the Frog, that curse just ended. So now we're going to be privy to seeing what was blinded to us, 2020 vision, perfect vision. We're going to see what he hid from us. We're the chosen people. We're going to get our superpowers back. When you stood on that block and you spoke, and you could feel the inner chi, you could feel the vibrations of your voice. This is what those slaves did when they would sing in ancient Hebrew a song, Kumbaya, my Lord. Kumbaya. That's the Hebrew song they were singing to the chariots. The UFOs would show up. So, and then, how is it that from Charleston, we would have communications of when we were going to have uprising, which we often did, the Gala warriors, the holy warriors, the swamp angels, Haiti, Charleston, or Jamaica, or Bahamas, Barbados, we would have uprising at the same time without cell phones now. How do we communicate? What you did when you stood on that block, that is one of the forms of communications. because it went from what you felt, whatever went out, went in. As above, so below. We are the true magicians. What you felt, no one would understand unless they experienced what you did.
Well, I say that whoever is interested, just to have that experience alone, but honestly, on top of, I don't know, the whole tour was phenomenal. Like I said, it wasn't at all what we expected, but it's so worth it, and I tip my hat to you and everything that you're doing in Charleston. I know I can only imagine, real quick, the church where the shooting took place, that was in Charleston, correct?
That's correct. That's right.
Okay. So, obviously there's still some racial stuff going on there, you want to speak on that real quick before we wrap up? Like, what's going on? Okay, so we'll do this real quick. Mm-hmm. So you tell me, just what is going on there racially? What is your vision, with everything that you're doing? I know that you have a book, and I was doing some research on that. Please, let's shout it out. Let's get it in our face. And then just real quick, I'm going to say I'm so grateful to have you on our tourism guide, the search engine. I'm excited, and we're going to stay connected because I definitely need your support and this
we need you.
Tourism.
Yes. Yeah.
But yes, come on, tell us, what is your mission with the race relations, with you, doing what you're doing? What's the mission? What can we do to be of support? What's going on?
So we are the seers, the listeners, and the speakers. We are the people that hear our Father, and we close our eyes and move according to His will. It's not what we want, it's what He wants. We are about our Father's business. The Mother Emanuel Church, really quickly. Just recently, we just took down the John C. Calhoun statue. John C. Calhoun was the 7th Vice President of America, 40-year politician for Charleston, South Carolina. 40-year politician. John C. Calhoun and Mayor Joe Riley. Both these men destroyed the Gullah people, the black people in Charleston, destroyed us. John C. Calhoun and Dylan Storm Roof, John C. Calhoun. If you look at the date that John C. Calhoun went into Mother Emanuel Church, tortured 146 black men at the magazine Torture House. The slave jail is still there right now. Tortured 146 black men, hung 36 of us on Ashley Avenue. They've just found the bodies about 5 years ago under the Gilliard Auditorium, 36 bodies. On the same day, 1822, here in 2015, Dylan Roof went into the same church on the same day, speaking the same words, with the same face, committing the same crime, murdering the same people. In that church, Denmark Vesey, Morris Brown, and Gullah Jack was teaching the secret that we could never know. That's what they were teaching, the truth about Gullah Geechee, that we are the true Hebrew Israelites from the tribe of Judah, the blood relatives to Jesus Christ.
Wow.
There's so much more, but I know time is tight.
Yeah, we're going to have to do a to be continued.
It does not stop. See, we like talk now. It's about God's business. And this is our time. The curse is into 2021.
Yeah, most definitely. Like I said, I got 2 cameras rolling so the other one can pick up what Zoom may cut off, but...
That's what's up. Okay.
Wow.
Right.
That is something else. So what's your mission? What is your mission? What are you trying to do? Are you duplicating yourself because what you're doing is so important?
Charleston does not like what I'm doing. They're against what I'm doing. So the movie Black Panther, they said, there's a scene when they said, it's the lie that we chose to maintain. And in another scene, they said, it's the truth that we chose to omit. Charleston has the biggest secret, and it's those people, those Gullah Geechee, is the blood to Jesus Christ. They cannot have this come out because it destroys everything that they have created. Today, they're the #1 city in the world for weddings, churches, tourism. They get all of the money maintaining a lie. So it's very difficult for me to really do what I'm doing. So all I really can do is just follow my Father. I have no idea what tomorrow brings. I have no idea how long I'm going to be doing what I'm doing right now. They make it real difficult, which the Bible said at the end of that curse, which just ended. See, when Princess kisses the frog, the curse is over. And the frog returns to a prince with a crown on his head and the kingdom to rule.
There you have it. Godfrey KHill. Thank you so much for being with us, and we will have you back very soon for a Q&A.